Unlimited power! Let me ask you a question. Do you only play Warlock? Do you not have a Hunter or a Titan? Or you just don't have all the broken stuff that they get gifted so that they can stay relevant? You know, you don't have Grafalcons on a Hunter, or you don't have Lorelei on a Titan, and you don't just get absolutely hard carried by Bungie? Then this Warlock build, it might be for you, because it's going to make you delete everything, and it's free, and I'm going to give it to you. We're going to get rid of me here, and we're going to run right through this real quick. So starting with the subclass, we are on Stormcaller as we should be. Healing Rift, Strafe Glide, pretty much stays the same every time. This is going to be a medium range build, so let's play Ball, Lightning over Chain, but that is again personal preference, and same for the Grenade. I prefer Storm over Pulse, but personal preference, you pick what you like, both will work. Next up is the aspects. We're going to roll through Electrostatic Mind, which is how we're going to create our Onic Traces and become amplified. Defeating targets with arc abilities or defeating jolted or blinded targets creates an Onic Trace, and we're going to be doing a lot of Ionic Trace creation, a lot of jolting, and a lot of defeating with abilities to keep those Ionic Traces coming in to stay amplified and keep our abilities regenerating as quick as possible. Arc Souls is what we're going to pair it with. So when you cast your Rift, you're going to get an Arc Soul, and while amplified, that Arc Soul is going to become supercharged and low-key pretty cracked. If you can, especially if you can get multiple fire team members picking those Arc Souls up, they're going to do significant damage in higher end content, or any content for that matter. To tie this together, we're going to use a few different fragments. The first one being Spark of Magnitude. This is just going to increase the uptime of our grenades, so they're there for longer, and they obviously start regenerating the moment you cool down. So less downtime, more jolt, more big lightning chains is what we love to see. Next to that is going to be Spark of Resistance. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. Just helps when you get pushed by different things to mitigate some of that damage, and it's quite a decent amount of mitigation there. Along with 100 resilience, you're going to be completely fine with not having anything like Restoration or Devour. It's not it's not as ideal, but it's something. Next to that is Spark of Shock, which is going to make our grenades jolt. We're going to have grenades all the time. We're going to be jolting all the time. Just more ways to keep those Ionic Traces rolling on in, so that we can keep the build functioning at a high rate. And then lastly, we're going to use Spark of Discharge, and for the exact same reason as the prior one, we're going to use it to create more Ionic Traces, just to keep feeding the build as much ability energy as we can. From there, we're going to roll into just the weapons. So my main recommendation is just to run something with Volt Shot, an arc weapon with Volt Shot, which is all they come on, but Arcalos is obviously the prime choice at the moment. If you can't run Volt Shot, at the very least, just run an arc weapon. Your heavy and your kinetic are your choice. Either run Arbalest with a Horde, a Blinding GL, you can run Deliverance if you want the chill clip, and then for heavy, you can run like Storm Chaser, Hothead, Anarchy, Thunderlord, whatever you prefer, whatever the situation calls for that you are trying to play at the time. Now the big tie into all of this is of course going to be the exotic, which is going to be Crown of Tempest. So Crown of Tempest, arc ability or jolt final blows increase the recharge rate of your arc abilities and extend the duration of Storm Trance. What I found this compared to other options is that it will basically do 80% of efficiency of what Fallen Sunstar does, which is just purely resource regeneration and ability regeneration, along with like basically the same for Storm Trance that Geomags does for Chaos Reach. So you get 100% of Chaos Reach and like 80% of the Fallen Sunstar in one exotic, and it's very, very nice. This just giving you that passive regeneration increase on top of the chunk regeneration you're going to get from Orbs of Power, Ionic Traces, Elemental Wells. You're going to be constantly having your abilities up to keep then throwing them out and keep the ability rotation going on through. Rest of the armor is pretty much similar to what most of my builds will run. I'll always run Powerful Friends and Radiant Light unless there's a specific reason not to. We're going to run Invigoration, Absolution on our legs, so that when we're picking up those Orbs of Power, we're getting a little bit more back for them. The gloves here, or the gauntlets, we're going to be running just whatever mod we need to stun champions usually, or just anything else there, and then fastball just to throw those grenades a bit further. I run Font of Might, but this is a flex slot, in my opinion, a free slot to do with whatever you please. If you want to get something more from your Orbs of Power, your Elemental Wells, or whatever that may be. Elemental Ordnance on the helmet, so that when we throw our grenades, we create our Elemental Wells, and also the grenades are going to give us our super energy back. The big one in this is obviously the bond. So each season, we're going to change what runs in this. So going into next season, we'll get rid of these 3 and we'll just go in fresh with just a stat mod on, and be ready to put in whatever is required. So that will be it for the build run through. Let's jump into some gameplay and we will show you how it all works. Alright, so we're in this Master Lost sector. We're going to rip straight in on the high difficulty to show you what happens and how well the build goes and how much damage it does. So we're going to pop our Rift to start, get our Arc Soul, which immediately is going to start popping shields. And then we just want to start getting our abilities out there as much as we can. We want to get these souls proccing. We want to get the Ionic Traces proccing as much as we can. Just gonna wait for this next spawn. You want to stay amplified as much as you can. So if we can keep rotating that amplification, that's going to be ideal. We're going to get big pushed here. These grenades will do big work. Got the barrier for the shields that we don't match game. But you can see even the damage we do take isn't massive. Wasn't a bad shot. We're going to spawn the next lot of ads. Get a little reload happening here in a second. These overloads are wild. It's that easy. Very nice. Need to keep this rocket reloaded. Always try and keep your rift down where you can and fight near it. Just keep refreshing your Arc Souls for the full duration of the rift. These Arc Souls amplified will do a lot of the work for you. As you can see, it's just running things on Master. Oh, who's over here? Fair enough. We're going to move up on in here. We're going to have a couple of Wervins to deal with. A few other champions. Once we get the rift back, I like to wait for the rift a little bit there. So now we just want to bait out and try and pick this overload very quickly. Big boys up the back there. Should be able to finish him off now with the Arbalest. So don't worry about getting that fire in. But our abilities are well on their way back. We're just going to wait for this spawn to come in. We're going to get a few champions, a few other things we want to deal with. We just need to try and work down some of these ads to see if we can get some souls in. Oh, here comes a big guy. Dispatch of him relatively easily. This Werven's what we want to get rid of. We could get away with supering this Werven probably. We're just got to be careful of his charge. Keep moving around them, they won't know what to do. So half a bar of super for that Werven. And we've managed to get in and out. Super's just really nice for clearing ads. He's going to pop his shield any second. It's that one. Get everything reloaded real quick, and then we'll just go again. We're on to the next bit. Could have put a rift down and got even more out of it, but it's all good. So rift goes down again. And then we just start going to work. Anything with shields that's going to create these chains is obviously a lot easier. But it does do damage to harder targets. Like these are Master Champions that are just getting absolutely ran. Hit him. Push that spawn out. You just want to keep clipping shields as best you can. Traces. Alright, we're going to put this down. Then we're going to go to work on this barrier on the right hand side. And that's that easy. Got one more to get. This big guy is doesn't do anything too special. Might take this opportunity. No, don't you dare. That's so annoying. He's gonna pop again. Oh well, we'll come back for him. Can't believe it, man. The program in this game sometimes is just ridiculous. Righto. Big chill. Big chill. We're actually going to pop a rift here for a bit of extra damage, because he's going to pop again almost straight away. Or not. He's going to die. And it's that easy. You can just roll through the rotations. So yeah, it's decent build. I think that obviously for this lost sector we had to run specific things, but with linears taking a bit of a nerf, maybe rockets would be the way to go, or even you could have run like an anarchy and something else, a double primary, or you can run with a horde. It's really however you want it. The build feeds itself, so it's the fragments and then just Crown of Tempest that actually allows it to go a bit further. You could run Sunstar for even more ability uptime, but I like the fact that this helps the super as well as it helps the uptime of all your abilities. So it's like a longevity thing more than anything. You can run it however you want. Like if you want to go a Chaos Reach build, you can go Sunstar or you can go Geomags, but I feel like this is, 80% of what Sunstar does and 100% of what Geomags do, but for Stormtrance. So it's just the best in slot in my opinion. And if you're on Warlock to try and be boss damaging, then you need to be on Hunter or Titan. That's Arc Warlock. It is. There are options on Warlock. It's just not as prominent as the other ones, and it's just a lot more in depth to get it there. But yeah, that's going to be it for our Arc Warlock build as we get pulled back out of that lost sector. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do, and only if you do me a favor, drop a like, hit it with a sub, maybe a comment on the side if there's anything you need to know about. Keep that bell notification rung and ready to go so you don't miss out on any more of the content, and I'll catch you in the next one.